Hey folks, thanks for stopping by. Hey, it's Brian again with Samaritan Funeral Home. Once again, you can find us at SamaritanFuneralHome.com. Wanted to continue this conversation that we've been having over these past few weeks. This whole conversation about death. And again, I get it. Death is not an easy subject to tackle. It is a challenging conversation, but I want to encourage you. We want to encourage you. It's an important conversation to have. That you need to have this conversation around the dinner table with your kids, with family, friends, and let them know. And so today on this conversation, I'm going to take a little bit further. Now, as you can see, it's not our normal setting what we do, because I wanted to just do something up and change it up a bit, but that's okay. What I want to talk to you about today is we want to focus in on this cremation side. And there's some forms that have to happen, and it becomes a good bit of challenge. And we notice as we sit across the desk from different family members, mom and dad have just passed, or dad passed earlier, or mom passed earlier, whichever it was, and now the second loved one now has passed, and so the kids are sitting around the table. Let's say there's 5 kids, and they didn't know, hey, mom wanted this or dad wanted that, and they wanted to be buried, or they wanted cremation. And so now they're really wrestling with this conversation. So let's just say that there's 5 different siblings in this family unit. Mom and dad, either which one have passed, there's no other families, and now the children now have to figure this out. And mom and dad didn't have this discussion. Mom and dad didn't tell them which way they wanted to go, or they told one thing, someone said, heard this, or whatever. It becomes he said, she said, and it happens very, very quickly. So here's some ways that you can do that. Because what happens on the funeral home side, right? Let's just say I've got 5 siblings sitting across me, and all of a sudden, 2 of them said, or 3 of them said, mom wanted burial, and 2 of them said, no, we can't do that. We can't afford that, or no, she wanted cremation. And now there's this division that's happening, okay? And now the family, it's just this awkward conversation, and they got to do it now over this really tragic time, as opposed to just having the moments to be able to grieve and sit in this loss for a little bit as a family unit. So they're wrestling with it, they're arguing about it. So on the funeral home side, when it comes to cremation, all right, especially here in Arizona, final disposition is cremation. It's going to be at the crematory. Okay, that's final disposition. So all of a sudden now, me, the funeral home, I've got to have at least minimum 3. But in our funeral home, we just don't like that. I want all 5, okay? Because why? We're in a litigious society, unfortunately. That's where we live. And because it is final disposition, you think, well, burial is final disposition as well, Brian. Yeah, I get that. But the thing is that later on, if the family chooses to, they can spend the money and they can disinter somebody and move ahead with cremation a different way, or move them across the country, or whichever they wanted to do. So there's other options they can do that, but with cremation, it's final disposition. So we have to get everybody's signature on them. Now let's say, well, Brian, hey, I've got a durable power of attorney. Okay, perfect. I love that. You've called out sibling A to be the responsible person of that. It's a durable power of attorney. And on this durable power of attorney, it's got health, it's got financial, it's going through all these things, but 9 times out of 10, it leaves out final disposition rights. Okay, when it leaves out final disposition rights, it's this vague, kind of cloudy area, and no one really knows. The problem, again, it leaves the funeral home kind of exposed from different family members. And so us personally, we're going to say, hey, family members, we're still going to need all 5 people to sign off on that. And it becomes a challenge deal. So here's some solutions that I have for us, okay? So if you can see right here, this is our website. On our website, if you go to SamaritanFuneralHome.com, this is what it kind of looks like. Comes up, Celebrate Live. We're here for you. Those are all true statements. But if you go up the little tab, and I'll see if I can't zoom in or whichever, but you'll have to go in, and there's a little tab called Resources. Under Resources, there's different forms. And there's a form on there that says Will. It's a free will. It's Maricopa. You can go to maricopa.gov. It's free any which way. You can come down to that. And it has all this thing. And upon my death, I want my body to be buried. Upon my death, I want it to be buried in where I want it to be buried. Or upon my death, I want my body to be cremated. And there's lines, and you can just fill that out. And it's really interesting. You just it's just little boxes, and you can check off exactly things that you're wanting and that you desire. And as you desire those, you can have that for record. And I would suggest that you give it to the funeral home, the family member in charge, whichever, so somebody knows it, okay? And you have to have it witnessed, minimum. You have to have somebody's witness signature in that. Or better yet, I would have it notarized. So you can have that document already in place, pre-planning, which is key, and now your family members don't have to have this argument, or we don't have to search over and find out that, hey, this family's been disjointed for these years. So I'm going to encourage you to find these forms. Again, you can go to our website, download it. It's free, no charge to you. You can get this going and have those forms on for you. If you have more questions, you don't quite understand it, please don't hesitate to call or shoot us a note, drop it right there, and ask the question. We're happy to answer these questions for you, help you field these for these. One of the things that, I keep telling you week after week, we love to hear your story, and this is my home, and this is my personal office, and there's a lot of stories within there. So across my desk, there's picture after picture after picture of different stories that happen in my life. What's your story? We want to hear it. I know there's thousands of them, and they're important stories, folks. So I want to help tell that story. Maybe perhaps you've already had that story, and you've had to tell that story of your loved one. Tell it again. Tell us. Jot it here. Tell me the story. Shoot a video. I don't care. We love to hear that story because it's very, very important to us. Okay? Thanks for stopping by. Once again, Brian, Samaritan Funeral Home, SamaritanFuneralHome.com. We love to hear your story. We love to tell your story. All right? Thanks for stopping by. Peace and grace.